All right. Good afternoon, traders. Today is December 17, 2024. This is the BYOB Market Wrap Up with me, John Carrigan. I moderate the BYOB Trading Room. All right. Let's take a look at some charts today. Okay, so here we have SPY. Here's our pivot. 605.70. Let me clear some of this stuff off. All right, so here's our pivot, 605.70, right about right. A little bit higher. Right about there. All right, so that's our pivot for today. That's breaking underneath right under here. Price action. We had a gap down. The bulls never filled the gap. All right, so they tried to fill the gap here. They failed. They made a lower low from right here. Then we made a higher high, not by much, by about 20 cents. And then from there, we just melted down, took out the low of day, and matched up with prior day's low right here. You can see right there, we matched up with that 602.89. From there, we bounced back up, didn't make a higher high, and we came back up to challenge the high of day right up here. So, into the close. On the 10-minute, we have an uptrend. On the 2-hour chart, we have ourselves a 2-hour downtrend. On the daily chart, we still have a daily uptrend. We haven't made a lower low. Price action is still up there in bull flag status. Okay, price moved up and held the higher ground up here. So price action for today, of course, is a lower low and a lower high closing underneath a bullish trap, but over the 17 EMA. So there's SPY. All right, let's take a look at it on, let's take a look at QQQ, all right? And QQQ yesterday made a new all-time high. Today we made an inside day. That's a lower high and a higher low closing over the trap, over the 17 EMA. Everything's still bullish about QQQ. Be a long time before we probably make some lower lows right there. Okay, so here's the last low. It's not until we take out that low right there, QQQ will be in a downtrend. FNGU had an inside day. All right, it's a lower high, higher low, closing over the bullish trap, over the 17 EMA. Price action, you can see price action right there, way up over the 17, up over the 8, way up over the 3 EMA. So taking a rest today with a higher low and a lower high inside day. So there's FNG. Let's take a look at IWM. All right, IWM does a bearish engulfing after doing a bullish engulfing yesterday. IWM. Know what I mean? No sound? There's no sound? I can restart it. Can you refresh, Stefan, to make sure? Is there anybody else here that can hear me? Yeah, Paul says I'm good. Try refreshing, Stefan. It's that, could be that Canadian internet. Good here. Okay, so Vern says it's good. Arnaldo says it's good. Paul J says it's good. Try refreshing. All right, back to IWM after the bullish engulfing yesterday. We got a bearish engulfing today. Lower high, lower low, closing underneath. Bearish trap underneath the 17 EMA. Losing the upper third, so just kind of neutral. Hanging out over the bullish side of the midpoint right there on IWM. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Diamond Dow, lower high, lower low, more selling. Closing underneath a bearish trap, underneath falling 17, underneath prior all-time high anchored VWAPs. And you can see right there, price action losing the upper third as well on Diamond Dow. So just kind of neutral right there. Not in a downtrend yet. If Diamond Dow takes out this low, we'll have a downtrend. If IWM takes out this low, we will have a downtrend. Right now, we're still in an uptrend. All right. So we got FNGU inside day, QQQ inside day, SPY, all right, lower high, lower low, closing inside, closing underneath the bullish trap, almost a bearish cross, but over the 17 EMA on SPY. So what do we trade today? Well, we traded, let's take a look at what we traded. I traded some 602 puts, all right? So I'll show you what I wound up with on the 602 puts. And I got that somewhere right here, all right? On the 602 puts, I had 602 puts, made $2,000 on those puts. I called it out in the room, all right? So I said I'm buying puts. You see it right here. All right, bought 40 puts, 3 DTEs. First target was low of day. You can see we hit that, and then I booked some profit there. So there we go with the puts. What else did I trade? I had some bear call credit spreads. So on the bear call credit spreads, I booked here. I sold some calls. All right, so I booked about $2,000 on one spread, another $2,000 on the other spread, and I sold some calls before the market came down any further. So just sold some calls, and I covered some calls on my bear call credit spread. So wound up with pretty nice day for me, all right, with the bear call credit spreads. So wound up with a $7,000 realized gain on today, trading those spreads. Selling the calls. So I sold the 604 calls, sold the 610 calls, sold the 611 calls right there. All right, so that's what I got for those right there, and that was my trading for the day. All right, let's go back to our charts, and we'll look up what do we do in the technicals. T2122. All right, they stuck us in the oversold zone again. I told you we didn't make a higher high, so chances are we're going to be stuck in the oversold zone. And we are. Here we are all day today, stuck in the oversold zone, just selling, selling, selling. Taking profit. T2123. I mean, look at that. That's selling right there. That is definitely selling. Look at that. Every time it goes up, they knock it down. Every time it went up, they knock it down. So there's price action. Actually, I don't know if they closed below. No, they didn't close below, but they got below major support here. Okay, this is our consolidation between these two vertical lines. That was our major support, and we just lost our major support. T2123 now in a downtrend. All right, there's T2123. Look at the space between the curling over 200 SMA and the price action. All right, so probably get a bounce back to this area right here. Maybe tomorrow, maybe more selling. We'll see what happens. Had a little bounce rally into the close, so it tells me the bulls are still around if they want to be. They didn't fill any gaps, but when we start filling gaps, I'll say the bulls are in town, but I haven't seen any gaps filled. All right, so here's a bearish gap right there. Notice we never filled it all day. Same thing with SPY. We didn't fill it all day. T2123, here we are, back with the rising 200 SMA. All right, so we could get a bounce. All right, tomorrow we'll see what happens. All right, again, when we start filling bearish gaps, all right, that's when I'll say the bulls are back in town. Right now, we just broke major support right here, and we're in a downtrend. But we just hit the rising 200 SMA. We'll see if this rising 200 SMA is going to stop price from just falling out of the sky here. So there's T2123. You can see the distance between the rolling over 17 EMA and the price action. Huge distance there. Let's take a look at FNGU. FNGU was an inside day. Selling from the beginning of the day to the end of the day with one couple of candles here up over VWAP. That was it. Couldn't quite hold the VWAP area, and then found ourselves back under it. All right, let's go take a look at some precious metals. We'll start off with gold, GLD. All right, so GLD in an uptrend because they made a higher high right here. All right, see, here's our high. They made a higher high up here. All right, but everything's making that high. They haven't been moving up. Today's price action, lower high, lower low, closing underneath, bearish trap, underneath 17 EMA, still in the upper third. All right, so again, moving up, giving it up, still just kind of neutral bullish. All right, price action has moved up from here, and over to the right. Okay, so tried a couple breakouts, didn't really get anywhere, couldn't stick. Notice, I like it when price moves up and holds the higher ground. So had price moved up and then held the higher ground up there, that would have been inspiring for me to get behind gold and start taking it all the way up to challenge this breakdown candle high and the all-time highs, right? There's GLD still in an uptrend, all right, underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP, underneath the 17, just hanging out in the upper third, just kind of really struggling here. It's in an uptrend, but definitely not moving up. Let's take a look at SLV. All right, SLV underneath two 12-year high prior all-time high, prior 12-year high anchored VWAPs. That's the pink lines. SLV lower high, lower low, closing underneath the bearish trap, underneath the 17, underneath the midpoint. Again, moving up, giving it up, just kind of neutral right here. On silver, right at 27, just kind of neutral. All right, so we'll see what happens with silver. There's nothing, still in a downtrend for silver. Silver got themselves in a downtrend by making lower lows. Here's a low, they made a lower low right here. So they got themselves in a downtrend. On top of that, they made a lower high, and we'll see if they're going to make a lower low here. So there's silver. Let's take a look at UNG. All right, UNG still in a downtrend. All right, nice candle today, but they gapped down to get the candle. It's easy to do when you fall down and then you jump back up. All right, that's like how do you say it? It's like pushing price up just so you can discount it. Okay, so here's UNG, complete outside day, bullish engulfing, higher, lower low and higher high, closing over bullish trap and over the 17, trying to climb out of the bearish zone, which is quadrant 2. This is quadrant 2, and this is quadrant 1, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. So trying to climb out of the bearish zone here. Still in a downtrend, all right? Still has not made any higher highs. UNG just still consolidating. From the bigger picture, we have ourselves a hockey stick-like process right through here. And a head and shoulders kind of showing right here. This being the head. This would be the blockhead right there. And then you've got right shoulder right there and left shoulder right there. So we'll see what happens. All right, nice big green candle today. Looking for some follow through on that candle. All right. Other than that, it's just one lonely big candle. All right, so there's UNG. All right. Notice not making any not making any higher highs yet. So that's what I'm looking for is price action to make some higher highs. Let's take a look at SMH. All right, SMH. Let's try it again. SMH. All right, SMH's in an uptrend. All right. They got themselves in an uptrend by taking out this high right here. Okay, price action, lower high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA, up in quadrant 4, that's bullish, started the uptrend, and price action, you can see here, up over the pink line, that's the all-time high anchored VWAP. So SMH turned bullish. All right, let's take a look at XLF. All right, XLF moving up, giving it up. XLF now in a downtrend. All right, making a lower low. Here's a low. They made a lower low. Price action, lower high, lower low, closing underneath the bearish trap, underneath the 17, underneath an all-time high anchored VWAP, underneath a prior all-time high anchored VWAP. Financial sector just kind of falling right now. Not sure when they find support. Maybe it's in through here or maybe right here. We'll see what happens, but they're just falling. So financials in a downtrend. XLI also in a downtrend. Okay, lower high, lower low, closing under the trap, under the falling 17, under the uptrend line, below the pivot here, making a lower low, closing in quadrant 4, moving up, giving it up. That's neutral. All right, just neutral here. Nothing neutral bullish, not unless they recapture the upper third. I don't see it. So there's XLI, just kind of neutral at this time. All right. XLU, same deal. All right, making lower lows. Okay, it's in a downtrend. XLI is in a downtrend. XLU is in a downtrend. XLF is in a downtrend. Price action for XLU, lower high, lower low, closing under the trap, under the 17, no longer in the upper third, down in quadrant 3. Again, making lower lows, just neutral here. Okay, moving up, giving it up. All right, so they start breaking and closing candles down here underneath the midpoint. It's going to be bearish right there. Okay, so there's XLU. Let's take a look at XLE. XLE, same deal, making lower lows, price action in a downtrend. Underneath the uptrend line, underneath an all-time high anchored VWAP, underneath the 17, underneath the trap, down in quadrant 1, just falling apart. All right, XLE in a downtrend right now. Okay, nothing looking good on XLE. Let's take a look at XRT. XRT is a different story. XRT has moved up and has held the higher ground. Okay, price action moved up, and you can see it moves across. Held the higher ground up there. Today was a sell-off day. Price action, lower high, lower low, closing underneath a bearish cross. But over the rising 17 EMA, still holding that bull flag up in quadrant 4. Still bullish on XRT. Keep an eye on Amazon, Costco, and Walmart. All right, let's take a look at IYT. I don't even want to see what IYT is going to look like today. All right, IYT, just a lonely candle down here. Lower high, lower low, closing underneath the trap, underneath the 17, underneath the downtrend line. Underneath the uptrend line, underneath the midpoint, underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP, underneath the prior all-time high anchored VWAP. Transports just selling off. So, we've got 3 or 4 crucial sectors that help us when we're going to have a robust rally, okay? One of them is going to be the financials. One of them is going to be the semiconductors, all right? And the other one's going to be the transports. So you got transports, financials, and semiconductors. And right now, energy's not looking good. Okay, financials still slightly bullish, but in a downtrend, kind of falling apart, moving up, giving it up, just kind of neutral. Everything's just kind of melting off right now. T2123. It's now in a downtrend. T2122 is in the oversold zone. Nothing but negative news, really. Nothing but negative data, nothing but negative technicals, really. We have a few bright spots. SMH is a bright spot. SMH in an uptrend over the all-time high anchored VWAP, which is rare. Okay, you got XRT. There's a bright spot. Up over the all-time high anchored VWAP, also rare. All right, it's still hanging on to a bull flag up there. You got XLK, technology up in quadrant 4. Okay, you can see just yesterday they almost tagged a new all-time high. They tied the all-time high. Again, price action up over an prior all-time high anchored VWAP up in quadrant 4. So we have some sunshine, all right, between the clouds. All right, you got the technology, you got the semiconductors, all right, and what else do we have? Technology, semiconductors. We don't have the transports, and the financials are just neutral. All right, so a lot of work to be done. So there are some bright sectors. Retail is looking good. Okay, you got technology and semiconductors are looking good. Semiconductors looking better. All right, and then that's about it right there. Okay, if we look at transports, IYT. Okay, we're below the midpoint. Okay, nothing pretty about that. Okay, they got to recover this in order for me to be neutral. I'm leaning kind of neutral bearish. You'll notice we move up and we gave it up. All right, so that's just neutral right there. But we're closing underneath the midpoint. That's not a good sign right there on transports. All right, XLF. Okay, XLF's not too bad. All right. In a day or two, they could find themselves back up in quadrant 4. Okay, moving up, giving it up on the financials. Financials. You know, not too bad. That's really kind of close to being neutral bullish, leaning more towards neutral, but they're in a downtrend as well. All right, so maybe you like to see some exhaustion candles and then price kind of turn around and move up. So we'll see if we get that tomorrow. And by the way, tomorrow we got FOMC is going to come out at 2 p.m. And then we got a little presser at 2:30. And then following Wednesday's announcement of FOMC meeting minutes and their discussions there, we're going to have GDP on Thursday. I don't know what GDP is going to look like, but the last two have not been impressive, all right, with the falling dollar that we had prior to this rally. So I don't know if I'm finally going to get the effects of the falling dollar or that's come and gone and we're just going to have to deal with the rising dollar on Thursday's GDP. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. All right. So, all right, traders, that's it for me. All right. I want to wish everybody a wonderful evening. Thanks for hanging out with me. See you guys all here tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Everybody have a beautiful evening. Thank you.